Hello, my name is Iselle-Uku Morty Kemp. Iselle-Uku Kemp, what I really go by, but I use my maiden name sometimes. How you guys doing? Well, I'm here today to do a little story time, a little reflection. I'm reflecting on yesteryears, back in 1986. I know it seems like a long time to some of you guys, but it's only like yesterday to me. Anyway, I'm reflecting on my first trip to Iselle-Uku in Nigeria. Now, I gotta go back a little ways. A lot of people say, well, you're African American, but I'm biracial. I'm African American, but I have Nigerian culture within me. So I'm half Nigerian, half African American. Anyway, my trip, I was so scared. I can remember the day like it was yesterday. My parents are divorced, so I was 15 years old and I was in Georgia, and basically the trip was taking place in the winter months of November to December, and I was a wreck, but I was excited too because it was a new beginning. It was like I've seen enough of rural Georgia, and I wanted to start afresh and see something different, something new. My father resides in Detroit, Michigan, and he was a mechanical engineer. And basically, I flew. I flew from Macon, Georgia to Atlanta, Georgia, and it transpired all in a day. And from Atlanta to Detroit, that was my first day's trip. So I was a little tired then, and when we got home from the airport in Detroit, my father and my stepmother were getting everything together for the big trip. And the big trip was going to Nigeria. And I was so nervous. And the first thing that I said was, this trip is going to be so boring. And I don't want to go. I'm not going to have any friends. I'm going to read a book the whole time. That's how my thinking was at the time. And my dad was like, sure, fine, right. So the next day we started the trip. The trip was from Detroit to New York. And boy, when we got to New York, it was a hustle bustle awakening. I mean, it was cold. Everything was so expensive at the airport. I can remember trying to get a hamburger, which was at the time $10, just for the burger itself and the bun. The lettuce, tomato, and onions were like $4 or $5 at the time at that airport. And I was like, a hamburger is this much here at the airport? I'll go somewhere else. So I didn't get that hamburger then, even though I wanted it. It smelled so good. But I was like, I can't do this. So we stayed in the airport in New York for a couple of hours. After that, we loaded, and I took my first trip to Geneva, Switzerland. That was back when all the presidential summits were in Switzerland. And they always used to have that neutral point in Geneva. So we stopped over in Geneva, and Geneva was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And so we stayed there, I say about 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours there at the airport. I wish we could have just rode around and saw and looked at the different buildings and monuments, but we didn't have time because we were going full circle to Nigeria. So once we loaded the airport there, at the time we were loading on Swiss Air. I love that airport. I wish they could bring that back. We loaded on Swiss Air and we went to Nigeria, and from there it was about a good 8-9 hours. And boy, that was a flight. I was personally scared to get on the airplane going from the U.S. to Nigeria. I was scared of the heights. I was afraid of crashing. I was afraid of the turbulence. I was afraid. But once we got above the turbulence, above the clouds, everything seemed to be so peaceful. So we were on the flight, and we were there for, like I said, 8 to 9 hours till we reached Lagos. Lagos reminded me so much of New York. The hustle, the bustle. I mean, it was amazing. But, of course, when we got on the airport, Dad was he promised a lot of people a lot of stuff back home. So he was bringing suitcases after suitcases after suitcases worth of things. At the time that I can remember, he was promising them that he was going to get them, like water and apples. He said they loved apples. All sorts of things. So when we got to Nigeria, we stayed at my cousin's Francis Ozoma's place. And I can remember, wow, I really enjoyed staying with my cousins. They had drivers, which are sort of like chauffeurs, but they had drivers for wherever they wanted to go. And at this point in time, I was so amazed at how they lived, and I thought they would be in huts. They would be, the pictures that they show on TV was the mentality that I had going into the trip. But once I got there, I was like, they're just like us. So when we got there, we ate good. I got to know my cousins, Neka, and we really hit it off. So at this trip, we ate good. We had a lot of chicken stew. We had a lot of peanut stew. We had all kinds of different stews that I enjoyed. I did not like pepper stew. Pepper stew with the goat skin on it. I couldn't do that. But I really enjoyed the meals that I had there. Auntie made sure that she really fixed everything that I liked and enjoyed. So we're there at Lagos, and we got around to seeing other relatives and cousins and nice spots to hit it off and have fun at. There was a private club that my cousin Nico was a part of, and we got a chance to go, and we had fun, and it was like we were in America. I mean, we basically got to meet different people, see different people, see the culture. Basically, it was a lot of upper class people who were a part of that club, who were very Americanized, or they were influenced by the influences of Great Britain. So it didn't really seem like it was totally different. Of course, I had to go to the village, which I am a part of Iselle-Uku. And being a part of the Morty family, I mean, it's amazing. It's actually very amazing. I got a chance to meet the OB. I am basically a part of the royal family in Iselle-Uku, and that was an experience. So, while I was there, I met a lot of my aunties and uncles who have passed away, some of my cousins, and a whole lot of friends, and just a lot of people who made a major impact on my life. My auntie Josephine, she was amazing. All my aunts were amazing, the ones that I did see. My auntie Josephine, she took me in. She was very close to me. It was amazing at how they had gardens. And in America, you have these roll gardens or whatever. Their garden was like a farm. All we had to do was pick sugar cane. It grew in their backyard. Orange trees, whatever oranges we want, we could get that. Bananas, no problem. We could get that. Any tropical fruit that grew in her backyard, we could get it. Because it was there. It was there for the eating. It was there for the purpose of eating. So I was in awe and amazement. Rest in peace, Auntie Josephine. And I also got to meet my Auntie Vicky. She was a frisky thing. She did a lot of dancing and showed me a lot of the different culture within the culture with Iselle-Uku in Nigeria. I got the chance to meet some of her kids. I mean, it was like a big gathering. And it was, because we were celebrating my grandmother's second burial. She died, I say, in 85, 86, and we went in 87, something like that. So it was a second burial, and I really wanted to meet my grandma, but she passed before I got a chance to meet her. And that was her dying wish, that she wanted to see me. Now, it wasn't just me, because I also have two other twin cousins who are biracial as well. They are African American, Nigerian. And we all grew up together in Detroit until my mother and father divorced. But they didn't get a chance to go to Nigeria. I got a chance to see and meet people that I may or may not ever meet again. And it was just so amazing to meet such caring and courteous people. And the village life, it got really cold in the middle of the night sometimes, but it would be really, really warm during the day. And during that time, generators were really good friends. If you had a generator, when your electricity went off, then you were in great standing. When that generator went off, the heat was on. So I enjoyed my trip. I got a chance. The way Iselle-Uku is today versus what it was back when I went is totally different. Iselle-Uku has really grown. It really has made a political impact in Nigeria. I feel like I wish today, I feel that I wouldn't mind going back just to see how it's grown. I was in the process of going back in 2007, but things didn't work out with everything in the news and politics and all that. But I enjoyed my trip to Nigeria. Nigeria was amazing. Iselle-Uku was amazing. I come to find out a lot of the family tree. I found out how my grandfather was part of the royal family, how my grandmother was part of the royal family. I found out how my grandmother was inspired to do certain things in order to make ends meet for her children. And she was a go-getter. And I'm proud of her. It's just amazing to see how people get together and love on each other. So when we went back from Iselle-Uku to Lagos, I didn't want to come back to America at that time. I really didn't. I was having a ball, the time of my life, and I didn't want to come back then, but I knew I had to. I was still having fun with my cousins, enjoying going to the different clubs, eating suya, having ice cream, eating custard. I couldn't stand pop though. Pop is just nasty, but they love pop. I didn't. I said, give me custard any day. But I truly enjoyed. That was the highlight of my life, going back to Nigeria and meeting my relatives. Today, I don't see my relatives as much. And I think because even in American culture as well as African culture, some people are closer than others, I guess. When you grow up, people have a different mindset or a different way of thinking, and things are different. I wish that we could get back together and sit down and talk and have the good old days that we used to, especially learning your history. History is important. Now, I know that on my mother's side, there's a certain point where we can trace back our history. But the Nigerian history is so fluent. We have people in our family that keep up with how relations go, how relatives are related to each other. And it's amazing how you can connect the family tree one to the other. So that ends my story time. Thank you for listening. And please subscribe at the subscribe button. Thank you.